So what's going on guys, Kadis here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best tank PVE build in Lost Ark. So in this guide I will show you what abilities and awakening skill you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best engravings and cards to use for endgame content. And then lastly, I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to allocate for PvE, so you would be able to get the best defenses with the highest damage at the same time and much more. So no matter how low or high level or gear score your character is, you can easily use this build and follow the step-by-step guide. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then for our class we want to go with the Gunlancer, and he has a great monster clearing speed with strong AoE abilities. This makes his leveling and dungeon farming process easy and enjoyable, even despite his low movement speed. Besides damage, the Gunlancer can also support the team with shields, damage reduction buffs and target armor debuffs. In endgame he can also interrupt many dangerous boss skills with his taunt ability. Then as well be aware that the Gunlancer is the only class whose spacebar moves them backwards. This could be a small turnoff for some players, but after a few days of gameplay you will get used to it. So overall this build is made around having high survivability by using the combat readiness engraving, which as well at the same time will give you ability to do massive amounts of damage. So if you're looking for the best leveling, raiding, chaos dungeon or any other PvE content build, then this is the one for you. Okay, so now let's move over to the build itself, and these are the skills you want to have. So then for the first ability we have the bash, and we use this time just 4 levels to unlock the armor destruction, and then lastly for your rune you want to get the bleed. Then for the second ability we have the shield charge, and we use 10 levels to select the enhanced strike, shield and destruction charger. And then for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then for the next one we have the dash upper fire skill, and we use this time just 4 levels to unlock the ready attack. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the overwhelm. Then for the fourth ability we have the leap attack, and we use 10 levels to select the direct blow, electric field and low shock. And then for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then for the next one we have the Nalacious energy skill, and we use 10 more levels to unlock the quick preparation, effectiveness and survive. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the focus. So then for one of the last abilities we have the Guardian's Thunderbolt, and we use once again 10 levels to select the damage luck, tough strike and lightning stock. And then for your rune you want to get the gale wind. Then for the 7th ability we have the shield bash, and this time we use just 7 levels to unlock the nimble movement. And then lastly for your rune you want to get the quick recharge. And then for the last and final ability we have the shout of hatred, and we use our last 10 levels to select the quick preparation, shield and open weakness. And then for your rune you want to get the focus. Then as well after level 50 for your awakening skill you want to get the Guardian's protection. But if you haven't reached level 50 yet, then here's a specific guide on which abilities you should upgrade first while leveling with the Gunlancer. And then on top of all this, focus on equipping as high item level gear as you can. And then at the end game you should have 350 crit and 1250 specialization. But again, if you haven't reached this point yet, then try to have around 20% stats into crit and then the rest 80% stats into specialization. Okay, so then the way I would recommend to upgrade this build is at level 50 you will get around 250 points. So this is how your build should look like. But then by doing more and more endgame content you will get more points. And at the absolute endgame, this is how your build should look like with all the 410 skill points. So at the start you use the 252 point build, and then by leveling up and completing quests you will get more points. So just keep on improving your skills and getting higher tier runes as well. So then let's move over to the engravings, and you want to get the combat readiness. This engraving grants a damage increase to all general skills and also increases the durability of shields from both identity skills. This engraving offers no penalty at any level, so you can equip it even at level 1 without worrying about not being good enough. So then the second engraving is called the barricade, and this will provide a flat 16% damage increase when you have a shield up. This engraving will be active pretty much the whole time as we are using the combat readiness build. Then the next one is called the stabilized status, and this is a great engraving since it's unlikely for a combat readiness Gunlancer to take ever any damage unless the player doesn't manage their shield meter properly. So having your damage increased when being above 80% HP will come in very useful. Then for the fourth engraving, you want to get the heavy armor, and this engraving increases your defensives for higher survivability. And as we are looking for the best perfect balance between the damage and tankiness, so this engraving is a very nice addition to have. Then the next one is called the Grudge, and this is more advanced engraving that is recommended for tier 3 content. This Grudge is the most efficient engraving against mobs, and you will get your damage increased, but in return you will take 20% more damage. So when you get to the very endgame content, which is called the tier 3, then get this engraving. And before using it, get it to at least level 2, because at level 1 this engraving is not that efficient. And then for the last engraving, we have the Cursed Doll, and this is a significant attack power increase, at the cost of 25% healing penalty. This penalty can be offset by paying more attention on dodging red AoE circles, and by using healing potions more often. And like I've said, with this build we want to get the perfect balance between damage and survivability. So sure, you could pick one or the other engraving for maximum defenses, but in Lost Ark you not only want to be super defensive as a tank, but as well do a lot of damage, so you would be able to play solo or help your team in the endgame raids. So then in a quick summary, I would recommend to get the top 3 engravings first and then the bottom 3. And then last but not the least, let's move over to your cards, and I will give you 2 options. The first option will be for more damage, and the second one will be for full tank survivability. So depending on if you play solo or you want to be a tanky and do damage, then go with the higher damage cards. Or if you prefer to play with groups and you are looking to be a full dedicated tank, then go with the second card set. So then for the highest damage cards, you want to get the Shandy, Azena and Ainana, Ninaven, Vey, Baldur and Tyrane. In general, these cards are an endgame system for maximizing your character, so you don't have to get them right away, but these specific cards will optimize your damage output in PVE even more. And then moving over to the second card, which is for the highest survivability. So for the cards, you want to get the Caspiel, Mocha Mocha, Tyr, Madnik, Vrad and Cian. Like I said, in general, these cards are an endgame system for maximizing your character. So if you want to increase your defensives in PvE even more, this is the card set to use. I did a bunch of testing for both these setups, and this was the best and most optimized card sets. Okay, so then moving over to the gameplay, and if you have played this class while leveling, you will be very familiar with the skills, so I will just try to give you a short description. So then the first ability is called the Shout of Hatred, and this is your main taunting skill that will pull mobs to you and disable certain skills on them. Then the next ability is called the Bash, and the skill provides a armor destruction debuff on the target and a ready attack self buff with good stagger damage. This skill will reduce the enemy's defenses by 12% while giving you 25% attack power for the next 5 seconds. Then the next 4 abilities called the Leap Attack, Guardian's Thunderbolt, Shield Charge and Shield Bash are your main damage skills. Then for one of the last abilities we have the Dash Upper Fire, and this is your main counter attack skill. Then moving over to the next skill, which is called the Nalassius Energy, and this is a party shield that you can use to reduce and absorb incoming damage. Then for one of the last abilities we have the Identity skill, and the more you attack the enemy, the faster the meter fills. And then when the meter is at full, you can choose to use one or the 2 defensive shield abilities. Just remember that when you activate your damage skills, turn off the shield, because while the shield is active, you can't refill the meter again. And then for your Awakening skill, we have the Guardian's Protection, and this is a powerful skill that in 10-meter radius will do damage to all enemies, while at the same time giving you and your party members plus 40% resistance against incoming enemy damage and much more. So I usually use the skill when I or my teammates get in trouble and we need more damage resistance. Okay, so then let's take a closer look at your best skill rotation, and as we are using the Combat Readiness engraving, it usually does not require for the player to dodge a lot of mechanics. Instead, you can just simply tank the attacks. Just remember that it doesn't protect you from one-shot mechanics, so try to manage your defensive stance shield meter properly. So then the best damage rotation is to first of all use the Bash skill, then the Guardian's Thunderbolt, then the Shield Bash, then afterwards the Shield Charge, and then finish it off with your Leap Attack ability. So let's see what we did in this rotation. By using the Bash ability at the beginning of the fight, we applied a debuff on the enemy and a self-increased buff on ourselves. So then we just follow that up with the stance and your highest damage skills, and that's about it. As a tank, your role is very simple. You just keep on using the rotations for damage, and then use the rest of your abilities to shield yourself or the allies and much more. So now in my last and final conclusions for this build, the Gunlancer is the tankiest class in Lost Ark, so use it to your advantage. Then as well prioritize getting the specialization stat first. As well you have activated your identity skill called defensive stance, it will make you practically invincible. Then as well don't forget to use your bash ability before using your main damage skills. And then lastly turn off your defensive stance before using the Shout of Hatred skill, so you would be able to fill up your identity meter a lot faster, and that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Lost Ark PvE classes that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable the notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here